not on the panel to introduce themselves and to tell you where they are from.
Jackie Harms. I'm in Meridian, Mississippi at WTOK, and I'm the general manager there. I come from a news background, just so if you're wondering.
Okay, my name is Michelle Martin. I work at WTVA, and that's in Tupelo. I anchor, produce, and I am a reporter.
I'm Emily Forrester. I'm just up the road at WDAM, and I am the news director there.
I'm Ebony Jackson. I am the managing editor at WOBT. I graduated from here in 2018.
I'm Michael Clark. I'm also at WDAM. I'm an evening anchor there and also a managing editor, so just up the road with Emily.
I'm Brandon Harrison. I'm the 4 p.m. producer at WKRG in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm also a graduate from here in 2017.
I'm Tom Colt. I'm the operations manager of Blakeney Communications here in Hattiesburg and Laurel. I also do the morning show on Rock 104 and have for the last 20 years.
I'm Tim Walker. I'm the general manager at WDAM, and I came from a operations background.
Hey, I'm Pat Peterson, the news director at WTVA in Tupelo, Southern Miss graduate from a long time ago. Glad you guys are here.
I'm Stephen Cruz. I recruit for Gray Television. I'm a former news director in Dothan.
Hi everybody, I'm Brad Kessie, news director at WLOX down in Biloxi, just 1 hour and 5 minutes south.
I'm Dennis Warren, an idiot passenger from the Mississippi Association of Broadcasters, and I work with Coast Radio Group in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Joey Barnes. I'm the news director at WCBI in Columbus.
I'm Jeff Hager, and I'm the sports director at WXXV in Gulfport, Mississippi.
I'm Joe Sullivan, the news director at WXXV in Gulfport, Biloxi, 50 minutes down the road. Hired 5 Southern Miss graduates, 2 from last year's MAB class. Glad to see everybody here today.
Did we miss anyone? Okay, so just out of curiosity, were any of you at our awards event Saturday night?
Yay!
I got a few, yay! Did y'all like it? Yay! Okay, congratulations to all of our winners. We were talking about you on the radio show today, so I was like, we had 13 people from Southern that were there. Okay, well I think y'all went down to 8 actually, but you paid for 13. So, okay, how many of y'all are seniors?
Here we are.
Quite a few seniors. Okay, how many are juniors?
All right.
Do we have sophomores?
Yeah.
And freshmen.
All right.
Good job. Way to be here.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, so kind of just yell out, like, what are y'all interested in? What? TV?
Just
Come
yell
on,
out.
y'all are communication majors.
Sports?
Right.
Huh?
Communications, that's what I am.
Communications?
Everything.
Everything.
There you go.
Everything?
I know I have a research guy back over there.
Narrow it down.
Data.
Okay, multimedia.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Okay, well, Ed came up with a theme for us today. I always say, I was here last week, and someone asked me to include something. I was like, this is Ed's baby. We do what Ed wants, and his theme for today is the future of broadcasting, and looking at, everything that's new in broadcasting and the new technology and everything. So, who wants to start talking about new technology and future of broadcasting?
Well, I'll go first because that's an ATSC 3.0 question. And next gen TV. Just from a 30,000 point view, you're looking at television stations who are going to be broadcasting a broadcast signal as well as internet capabilities to your television. So you'll be getting, you'll be able to watch all the programs that you want to watch that are free over the air, and in addition, you'll have internet with that, so you'll get data, you'll get weather, you'll get sports, you'll get all kinds of things. It's right now, it's whatever your imagination wants to hold, and that's what's going to be happening. I would say, what, Tim, next 5 years maybe? Mississippi probably. Some stations have launched already, but usually Mississippi's a little bit behind that. So by the time the equipment's brought and put on broadcasting towers and so forth. So that's what's really exciting for us. That combines everything. It combines everything about broadcasting, it combines everything about social media, it combines everything about digital. And that'll come out off of a TV tower at your stations across the state. So it's exciting. It's fabulous. It means that we can get people who need the information to be safe from a tornado when a tornado comes through. Folks, this is what we're all about. We're here to protect our First Amendment rights. We are here to inform the public. We are here to keep people safe. We are here to offer life-changing information. That's who we are, and that's what we do. That's why we're all sitting here, and that's our passion. There's lots of ways to get there. There's writing, there's print, there's digital, there's television, there's everything, right? But what's our goal? Our goal to stick together in this room is to change lives and to tell people what's happening in the world. That's who we are, and that's what we do. And so if you want to work for us in our business, that's what we ask of you. We ask you to have that passion. We ask you to want to work hard, to drive hard, just to embrace that, because that's who we are. And that's what ATSC 3.0 does. It kind of brings that all together in one platform. It's exciting. It takes streaming. Everything that you love about streaming will come to you through ATSC 3.0. It's going to be fun.
And coming off of that, think of all the new, not traditional broadcast jobs that come along with that technology, right? So jobs that we have now at our TV stations aren't the jobs that were there when I started 25 years ago, right? They just weren't. They were more traditional focused jobs. But now you've got everything live streaming. You've got own YouTube channels. You have your own social media. And then just with NextGen, that's a whole different platform and people who need to work to support those platforms, right? So the industry's evolving, and it's evolving in a very cool way. So it's just more opportunities for multimedia journalism, right? Multimedia skills, right? Things that can translate across different platforms. So the old way of doing television from even 10 years ago, it's totally different now. You think of technology of how we put traditional newscasts on the air. You know, you guys are learning in your studio. You probably have a camera operator, somebody working audio. Those don't exist anymore in small to mid-level market stations. It's one person controlling all of that through computer codes, right? It's so different. So there's a lot of jobs I think that a lot of college students don't know about that broadcast TV stations actually have on staff. So that's why you have to get into those broadcast TV stations so you can actually see what's out there.
Well, I think we talk about the future. I mean, I think that goes without saying we have to talk about right now. Question to all of you in this room, in the last, let's say, month, how many of you have watched either a local or a national news broadcast in the old school traditional form where you went home and you watched it at 6 p.m. on the local cable network? Who raise your hand if you've done that in the last month? Okay, a little different. I think nowadays, as we move to so many different platforms, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Snapchat. You know, the challenge for the folks sitting up here and all of you in this room is to reach people where they're already at, you know, where they're consuming those news stories. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, if you're on TikTok, you know, that's where we need to be reaching our viewers. And so as you see those hands that were raised up in the next few years, those hands keep kind of going down and more people raise their hands for these non-traditional platforms. And so I think the by the appointment viewing that maybe some of the folks in this room's parents and grandparents typically did, that's going to change. And so that's the challenge and the fun part about this industry is, I mean, how many of y'all are already on TikTok and on Facebook making videos, whether that's to share with your friends or to share with people? You can get paid to do that and share information that's important with other people and influence all sorts of things. So I think that's one of the fun things about the new technology, the challenges that come with it is we reach a whole different audience, you know? So I think that's one of the things we should embrace.
And think about the tornadoes that just hit our state, right? How many videos have you seen on TikTok when you're scrolling about how you can help, the devastation, the damage, right? It's translating to those other platforms, right? So you're seeing that as a way to reach people and to reach an audience.
Is TikTok here to stay?
It depends on the U.S. government. I don't know. I think platforms like that are, for sure. Because you think of like the Generation Z and even younger people, you know, I think of my daughter who's 17, a 17-year-old high school junior. She consumes that platform, right?
Talking more in a political security
I think if TikTok goes away, there's going to be something that replaces it.
It's always something that
Mhm.
replaces it. Like there's
Yeah.
Facebook, then there was Instagram, then there was MySpace before Facebook, and now there's TikTok. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be always some type of app that replaces it.
Yeah.
And Emily brought up a good point on the tornadoes, because I know we've been kind of primarily talking TV here, and literally, one of our radio stations was the lifeline for their whole entire community. And I love, so those that were at our awards event the other night, what I truly love about our broadcasters is they are so like a family, and yes, they may be competitors, but did y'all see the other night when you had one anchor that went to another station and hugged their neck and congratulated them, and they're so like that. And immediately following the Rolling Fork tornado, we had someone that was reaching out and said, hey, my station's off the air, I need a generator. And immediately, how many texts? I mean, it was constant. And it was one of the competitors that came back and said, I have a generator, call me and I'll get it to you. But literally, she called me this past week and was like, okay, is there any federal funding somewhere for a generator? Because I truly realized that without my station, our community would not have known a thing. So to be prepared in the future. So that's a whole thing on radio. So did y'all already know ATSC 3.0? Did y'all already kind of know about that a little bit? It is the coolest thing when you see the demo on it and you put in your zip code and like literally you can watch from different stations all at one time. And it's already in 12 markets, isn't that right?
I don't know the latest.
So we're looking, in Mississippi, when we met with MEMA to let them know that this was coming, I think we said like a couple of years from now is where we're gonna start. But I mean, like literally most of the TVs that you purchase now already have that capability. So it's gonna be so cool.
It's just
That's
equipment
so
delays
exciting.
and you have to install it, and so, you know, what somebody's 2 years could end up being 3, 4, 5.
Could you carefully spell out what this new service is?
ATSC.
FC, hey,
S
if-
as in snake.
If you go to buy a device, it's Next Gen TV. Next Gen is how it's marketed. So if you wanna buy a TV that will do it, it is Next Gen TV ready.
Thank you.
He's checking it all out. So what else,
What questions?
future
I don't-
technology, what, is there anything else?
I'd like to hear some questions.
Sure.
See what folks are thinking as you sit there and you try to figure your life out, right?
Social media is becoming one of the most accessible mediums for information in general. What is your opinion on regulating that further specifically for news?
What do you mean by regulating?
Should news companies have further regulations? Should we consider social media a news platform?
Oh, it already is,
Yeah.
on some degree.
Are you saying like should news platforms have certain regulations versus another user just using like TikTok or something?
Yeah, like if I, with my mom and grandmother as my followers, post something that's not true, it doesn't do a lot of damage, should the same standards be held for news services?
I think you're gonna find most news organizations adhere to, you know, standards and ethics, right? It's something we have to uphold through, you know, not just being FCC licensed, but also through our corporate ownerships. There's, you know, standards, broadcast standards. So, you know, not to pick up the hashtag of fake news or anything, you want to be as true and accurate and credible as possible. So that carries over to every social media platform, right? Because, you know, just for WDAM, something, you know, Michael and I brought into our newsroom, we constantly, we have this giant monitor in our newsroom, and it shows who's on our, who's reading what stories are the hottest right now, how many active users, where they're coming from, how are they finding WDAM.com, right? And every time, always, every day, every shift, every hour of the day, 95% of those are coming from a social media platform. That's how they're finding our stories. So no one is waking up in the morning or before they go to bed at night and saying, I'm going to WDAM.com to read the news. They're not doing that. They're finding a story, a headline, or a picture that grabs their attention, and they're clicking on it, and then they're being transferred to our page to read that story. So, it's already there. It's just how can we always think about how we can be better on certain social media platforms, right? And it's the length of time too.
So yes, we're held to those same standards.
Yep.
Yes. So, and that's just what we do because we believe
Yeah.
that's right, and
Yeah.
that we're just bound by those code of ethics.
Yeah.
Other folks who do news on those platforms are not necessarily always held to those same standards. So that's why you have to be careful where you get your news from.
Yeah.
Also,
Because you're
it
gonna have
doesn't-
bloggers.
It doesn't do any of us any good if we're good at getting out bad information.
Yep.
You're gonna go somewhere else, and that's not what we want. If you're posting something and it's either not true or an opinion or whatever, it's no big deal other than somebody else. For a company, it's a big deal because that's advertising revenue. Eventually it gets lost. Your credibility gets damaged, and it can come back and bite you really bad. So you wanna be as accurate as possible.
Comes down to trust.
How have you guys been utilizing social media, and what have you found successful with that?
I'm an anchor, but I also was a reporter for a number of years. When I first started reporting, I'll date myself a little bit here, there was not the same interactivity that you have with social media these days. And we were actually having a discussion about this with some of us and y'all's professors just a few moments ago about how things have changed. So when I was a reporter, one of the hardest things was, having to leave the newsroom and find your interviews by knocking on doors, sitting out at populated places and asking people if they'd be willing to talk on camera, sharing, their opinions with us. You found stories by obviously making connections and sources, and you still do a lot of those things. So I'm not suggesting that we change the way things have always worked. However, with the addition of Facebook and Twitter and some of these social media platforms, that takes away a lot of the old school things that we've been used to doing. Now I can find my story ideas on Facebook, on Twitter. If I'm following the right area police departments, fire departments, local government agencies, and I'm following their pages, more than likely they have somebody within that government group that's sharing updates about what's about to happen at a meeting that week, or hey, keep this in mind for this weekend. And so those give me a lot of story ideas. So that's something that's changed from years past. And then part two of that is, think about all the times where you have all the social media comments, you have all the people that have shared something on social media. It's always, I think, a point of anxiety when you go out and you're meeting strangers and trying to get their opinions about, a certain subject. But when you go on social media, you can see a lot of those comments and opinions right underneath of what people are organically talking about, right? And so you can use social media as a tool to reach viewers, right? That's one of the things that's foundational to what we do, is connecting with our viewers and our community. And for so long, that was always by default physically, right? You had to be somewhere, you had to be at a meeting, you had to be on a populated place, you had to make sure that you were doing your beat rounds and checks at the police department every morning. Nowadays, you can do things on social media, and that kind of takes away some of the legwork that you would have had to have done on the ground. And I think the ones who are really good at this do both. You can't forget about the things that made journalism successful so hard, and that was knocking on doors, actually making sources and contacts with the community. But those who have done that and have not embraced the social media aspect have not done as well. I think you have to remember that you got to do both to be successful. That's just my opinion.
I was just gonna say at our station, to one of his points, we use social media, specifically Facebook, a lot to get in contact with people. And I say that because oftentimes we would get a press release from a local police department about something, some tragedy or something, someone was killed or something, and they give us very bare details. They give us just the bones of what happened, and we're thinking we need to hear from the family. We need to hear their story. We need to hear what emotions they're going through. And so if we've posted the generic story like on Facebook, the comments will fill out themselves. I see aunts, I see cousins, I see moms. That's one way that we get in contact with people if we can't find their family otherwise. And then also to her point also as well, a lot of people to get them to our website, that's why we use social media, because if we tweet these stories, post them on Instagram, and we just attach the link to it, that's going to drive people to our website. So Facebook, I know for us, is really one of our we love putting stuff on Facebook, seeing the interaction on Facebook. It's just a very useful social media platform, I think, for news in general and definitely for our station.
It all comes down to money though, right? And that's why you'll see the links. We want them to come to our websites because we have clients who are advertising on our websites. We gotta make money, right? It's not cheap to run a TV station, is it, Jackie? So it comes down to how can you have that ad revenue so then you can pour back into your station to be that community hub for information, right?
And I think the hope is just on a different point, we've all talked about how important social media is as a driver to our websites. It's important to note we don't own Facebook, we don't own Twitter, and so we have to follow the rules that they set out, the regulations that but that's a medium and a conduit for us to be able to bring people to our website. And if you do your job right, you have good content, the hope is that if people visit your website once, maybe all of a sudden they'll just keep coming back. Maybe they bookmark it. Maybe they've said, well, I clicked on this link through Twitter the last 2 days. Why don't I just go to the website myself because they've got good content that I want to read.
I think one more thing to think about as you launch your career is you're in this business. I'm going to go back to saying we're here to make people's lives better. We want to know what impacts people's lives. Social media has allowed us to know what's important to people.
Yep.
I'm always, it warms my heart when I see people rally around a certain cause or maybe bring light to something that we had no idea was important to them. Who knew the price of eggs was going to be such a talking point, right? But you know that those kinds of things are important to people. So I use social media sometimes to really stay in tune with what's happening in the community. I moved to Meridian from Nebraska. I knew nothing about the Deep South. Nothing. Knew nothing about the SEC because, we were Nebraska. We were in the Big Ten. So, I had all these things to learn, and that you just really get a sense of not only where do people like to eat and those kinds of things, but really what matters to people. And you know what? What matters to Nebraskans matters to people in Mississippi. And that's what's really great about being an American, right? So use your social media also to just stay in touch, and sometimes don't engage, just listen. Just sit back and watch and listen. That can be really hard. But just sit back and watch and listen.
Okay, I've seen your hand several times, sorry.
I've got two questions. The easy one is first. I've been hearing in the course of my conversations with organizations that I'm a member of trying to get our social media up and running that Facebook is just for seniors, that Facebook is just for boomers, and that the young millennials and before don't even pay any attention to Facebook.
Are you on it? Are you guys on Facebook?
Here's the
Yes?
thing.
No?
5 years ago, that was true. 5 years ago, that was true. But Facebook is making a comeback, and it's very strange. Again, I see high school kids making Facebook pages again. It's strange. So it's making a comeback.
I think a lot of that had to do with
The answer is no. Facebook is very much.
I think it's still relevant.
Yes.
I think it's still relevant.
Very
I
much.
think Facebook tying in with Instagram kind of
Yes. Yes.
spurred that
Yes.
revitalization of Facebook.
Yes.
My second question has to do with, is anybody up here on the panel from Fox?
Under our station at WLBT, we are also WDBD, so we are Fox 40, so we are a Fox affiliate and an NBC affiliate together, so we have 2 stations.
Well, my question to you and the rest of everybody on the panel, what's the reaction to Fox News and the fact that they're being sued for $1 billion for lying consistently on the in the source of their broadcast? I'm not going to go into detail, but you'd have to be a hermit not to know
Yeah.
about it. I'd like to know what kind of pushback there is from you guys who are not at the Rupert Murdoch level.
Here's the difference. What we do is local media, right? So we're not commentary news. What you have with CNN, News Nation, Fox News, they now slide more to the commentary news, right? So we can all see on both sides, whether you're a CNN supporter or Fox News watcher, they got real loose coming after the last presidential election on both sides, right? And so I think that's where you're seeing with they got a little too loose and got a little too out there, and now it's sort of time to pay the piper, right? So that's not what we do. Michael Clark's not going to go on TV tonight at 6 o'clock on WDAM and give his thoughts and comments about something.
There's also something else
right?
in there too. Even though we're all affiliated with the network,
Yeah.
NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox. We're pretty much paying them to run their programming. So here at the local level, we are always fair and balanced. We don't have agendas. And while some of us might carry the Fox affiliate, we're not really part of the network. Next question.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw you too, okay.
I just wanna go back to the new technology that y'all were talking about, in the beginning. I'd just like to hear a little bit more about that and what makes you excited about it, what can it bring along with it,
Let's-
and maybe some downsides of it.
Tim's the ATSC
Some things that you might be concerned about with it.
Yeah.
Tim's the, as Tim so eloquently said, he's the operational brain inside of this thing. He's really,
And unfortunately, I didn't hear the whole question.
Okay, so I'm just a little more curious about, kind of what it is, what excites you about it, what can it bring along with it, and maybe some downsides that could potentially be found in it.
What excites us about it is it, for our industry, it puts us on a more of a level playing field with the digital world, because not to get too technical and in the weeds, but we only have a little bit of spectrum here that we're dealing with. So this technology gives us the ability to do more in that same amount of spectrum. Here we can send you more channels, but the main thing is that we become an interactive media in the process.
Right, so kind of expanding local media.
Right, it is truly a two-way technology. Your TV that picks up Next Gen TV will be hooked to the internet. So just like you do in an app or something where you select what you want from it, you can use our media the same way. You know, I want to get weather warnings from you. I want you to turn my TV on and tell me that it's happening, or I don't want you to. And those are the kind of things that it will allow us to do. It's got broadband internet on it, but that might be to update the software in your car, and we may sell that to somebody, okay? So it's got financial benefits for us as well to help us support what these people are doing with the news product every day. But it actually makes it a more interactive product. And it gives you control at your TV of how you consume our information.
And you can do it any time of the day, right? You can do it on any level, any subject, right?
So what would be the difference between that and just downloading an app?
You get to program it to some degree of what you want. What you program on your Next Gen TV may be different from what Tori does or what Nathan does, right?
So think about it this way, right now when you watch a traditional newscast, you see an open and you see an anchor intro and you see packages and you see stories.
Right.
With this technology, you may go, I want to read that story about USM, so you click on that, and I want to catch the sports, so I'm going to click on that, and maybe I want to catch the fire, and so you click on that, and then all of a sudden you've built your own newscast, and you play your newscast.
But you can still do it the other way too.
But you can still do it the other way, right? So that's where our job is. Well, how do we program that? Do we do traditional newscasts? Are we just going to do anchor intros with a bunch of reporter packages or something, and that's how it's going to be? How do we do that? We have no idea. We have no idea. No idea. So when we've all launched, the Gray Television has invested a lot of money in Mississippi in the past year and a half, and LOX and WDAM and us and WLBT all have brand new sets. And the reason we've done that is because we can take elements of those sets and that technologies to create these new newscasts of the future. And so when we built this set this year, we had a little set party at our station, and everybody signed the back of the set, and I said, I want you all to think about something. This could be the last set we ever built.
One thing that I do think is interesting is the part about the zip code. So we're actually going to have to educate the public that when this comes about, because it's going to say you need to enter your zip code, and some people are going to be like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. So we're actually going to have to work on PSAs to send out to educate people about why that's important.
So we're talking about all the changes in the future, just the overall ever-growing landscape of news, and I'm just curious, this new era, I think we can kind of consider it, if y'all have any advice or just a personal knowledge you know, that you would relay to a young journalist to kind of prepare us for this new endeavor?
Well, with social media and, you know, with the young generation, some of you may think that I'm like older, but I'm 23. I'm not as old as you guys may think. I'm 23, so with us, it's always about being on our phones, about being on social media, about trying to get as many likes and stuff. If you're going to go into this field, you have to think about you, yourself, you're a brand. So if you're posting all of this stuff, reposting this stuff, retweeting, you have to think about that tweet, that like, that post you're about to do, because that's going to follow you. And I remember maybe Emily had brought up that when she's hiring, you think that they can't find you, but they can. Like, it's not as hard to find you on social media as you may think it is, and it is. So if you retweet something or you post something, that could hinder you from getting hired at that next position. And then you have to think about the stuff that you're posting, and you're branding yourself, and you're saying, and how you're dressing, and things like that. All of that plays into who you are and what you plan to do in your next step in the future. So I would say, think about that next tweet, that next post, that thing that you're liking, or what you're wearing and what you're saying, and when you're posting that video and you're out with your friends and they're all drunk, sloppy, and you're with them. You're just looking like, I mean, that's your personal business, but just think about that the next time you're out posting and tweeting, because you're a brand and you're stamping yourself and your name on that, and that follows you everywhere. So.
But also it comes down to the basics still, right? No matter if it's next gen TV, you still have to be a really good storyteller. You have to be creative, right? You have to draw people in to consume your content. And that's a skill that you all can harness now, right? Even just by using your phone, right? You can tell a great story on TikTok, right? Be creative, creativity, visual mediums, being a strong writer. That takes you a long way in our industry.
You also need to be a consumer of news, and you need to be curious, keep your head on a swivel. What's going on? Oh, hey, what's that construction project over there? Boom, I got a news story. Be curious.
Another thing that I learned at one of my past MAB days, one of the general directors or news directors, they said, they was like, when you're going home or you're going home from work or wherever, you take a different route. Go explore for a little bit. I know you're tired, but just go out and just look, because that may be your next story.
The biggest thing is just be a journalist. And there are a lot of people who forget that. Our number one responsibility is to be a journalist, to protect the First Amendment, ask questions, and demand answers. That will never change.
No, that will never change. And Brad just said my favorite word, change. Folks, you're going to have to get used to change, and change every day, and new programs every day, and new ways of doing things, and new workflows. And well, we didn't do that last week. Yeah, well, we're doing it this week, right? And everybody says, oh, I love change. No, we don't. We're creatures of habit. I just want to go home and pull the covers over my head, and and watch underneath my covers and let me stream what I want to stream. But it's tough because we get comfortable, and we want to be comfortable, and we want to be safe, but as journalists, we're not. We have to ask the questions that challenge the status quo. We have to embrace what life is bringing forward, and it's sometimes it can be scary, but it's so exciting, so exciting, so exciting.
The technology is cool, and I'm glad to hear so many questions about that. And everyone up here is right about embracing that and using that as you grow in this career. I do think that it's important to also remember some of the traditional things, and every once in a while, and sometimes even more than that, look up from your phone. We just spent a lot of time with some of the folks up here and some professors about other ways to make some of y'all more successful as you go into this industry. And we spent so many times talking and texting and doing things on our phone and reaching out through Twitter and Facebook. Work on conversational skills. Let's not forget about actually having a human interaction with people. That's really where you're gonna break down somebody's hesitancy to go on camera, to share their most intimate details with you. That's a personal relationship. That comes with face-to-face conversation. There are some times where you'd rather have a phone conversation with someone than to text. That still exists in this business. And so while it's so important to use Twitter, to use Facebook, to use all of these things that make our job more effective and hopefully better for our viewers, some of those foundational things, the organizational skills, learning how to communicate with people, whether that's talking in person, sending an email, what questions to ask. Don't just live in your phone all the time.
Yeah. And it's easier for people to tell you no over text message or email, right? We had that conversation this week in our newsroom. Reporters were telling no, and I was like, hold up, I'm making a phone call. And it was harder for them to tell me no over the phone because they heard me and they understood what I was asking. And I made them see what I was trying, to accomplish. And they're like, okay, we get it. Here's the information. They couldn't say no to me, right? Because I also had a personal relationship with them. They knew me, they trusted me. It goes a long way.
Yeah, and to bounce off of that, build those connections. Like, we have incidents where law enforcement agencies are trying to tell us no or say they don't know, and having that connection can make or break this story. Just build those human connections, talk to the public information officers, talk with them on the phone instead of sending an email, because sometimes they might not see it, they might not get back to you. You just don't know.
So how many of you walked in today to sit down and visit with all of us and you were scared out of your mind? Come on, let's be honest. Okay, was it as bad as you thought? It's the unknown, right? It's the unknown. And somebody can tell you, well, the worst they're gonna say is no, and honest to goodness, the worst they're gonna say is no. But having that relationship, I had a wonderful time today with all those who I got to visit with today, because you made me a better person today. And hopefully the edge come off a little bit so you can reach out to your job prospects and just be amazing. And it can be really hard, guys, because we get in that phone and this is our world right here, but this isn't our world. This is our world. This young lady here, she's so nice and she's a Christian.
Yes.
I'm sorry. In employment and internship processes, what will make a candidate really stand out? Things people don't think about the kind of skills they need to have.
If you are already familiar with things that we do, if you've used a camera before, if you sort of know how to edit, if you're familiar, you've written articles, that's going to give you a leg up over someone who has never done anything like that. If you already have a reel or a website or a blog, you just went to the top of the list, right?
Without being familiar with the market.
Yes. Your community, yeah.
Or the station that you're going to.
Yeah.
What you're applying for.
Find out a little bit about them first. Find out who the station manager is. Find out who the news director is. Know the anchors, all of them.
And
It's TV.
And that information is usually pretty readily available on the station website,
Just go
like
to
the
the
Meet the
webpage.
Team.
5
About
minutes.
us.
Brad's got a good story.
So, everybody's heard the story, so once upon a time, a handful of years ago, I received a resume and reel from a student at Penn State University. Students, you need to know this. If you're trying to get a TV job, you got about 15 seconds. We don't watch the reel for more than 15 seconds unless you've done it. And they just keep watching. So I went through, I was about to put the reel in from this student from Penn State. I grabbed her cover letter and I just skimmed it. And the first sentence of her cover letter said, "Dear Mr. Kessie," by the way, it didn't say to whom it may concern. It didn't say, "Dear hiring manager." It said, "Dear Mr. Kessie, you're absolutely not gonna believe what you're about to see." You laugh, but there's a reason why she did that. She went to my bio. And the first sentence of my bio says, "You're absolutely not going to believe what you're about to see." Because in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina hit, those were the first words that came out of my mouth. She took time to research me. I watched every second of her reel. Now, I didn't hire her. But I watched every second of that reel because of the time she took to research me. She stood out. Stand out. Make a difference.
Sticking with the theme of portfolios, as amateurs and college students, we don't have access to a lot of the resources that a professional station will have access to. What aspects of a portfolio do you expect to be lacking given this lack of resources, and what aspects do you expect to still be strongly represented?
Shoot with your phone. Shoot with your phone, edit with your phone, and post that. You don't have to have a professional grade camera, because sometimes ours don't work either, and we're shooting with Hey, that's true. So yeah, use that and show us, because if you show us you're resourceful, that goes a long ways with us too. Yeah, shoot with your phone.
It also shows that you're passionate about what you want to do.
Yeah,
It
and the
shows that
story tells you
you're-
want to tell.
Yeah, that you're willing to do what you need to do, to use your phone to go out and get this job.
Where's the young woman who's doing the cars? Is she here with us? There she is. So she shared some of her writing and her pictures and so forth, and she went out and just found stories that, honest to goodness, television people don't cover a lot. Families who find old cars and renovate them right and race them and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of off the beaten path, right? So I'm sure you all have neighbors who do things. Maybe somebody builds coffins in their backyards. I don't know. That's happened in North Platte, Nebraska. Don't laugh. So those kinds of things. If you find something quirky like that and you do a story about that, that sets you apart, right? You don't have to have the world's best resources for us, because really what we want is ingenuity. And we want somebody, I think, Ed, we were talking about things, sometimes that new employees have, and when they come to us, some of the things that soft skills that they lack, it's that when their world falls apart, oh, what do I do? I'm just gonna go back to the station without a story. Wrong answer. You have to come back with something. My camera died, but I shot it with my phone. Right answer. Right? You know what, I had a camera, I took pictures. Right answer. Those kinds of things, well, they didn't show up for the interview, but I came back with this other really great story. That's the right answer. So those kinds of things. So just show us your ingenuity.
And if you
use what you got.
Say if you don't want to be a reporter, right? How many of you have told all of us that you met with us today, oh, I don't want to be in front of the camera? Yeah, we've got a lot of those jobs, right? So if you're a writer, show me, even if it was a class assignment you got an A on, have a portfolio of your writing, right? I want to see that. I'm hiring a digital content producer to write for our website. You have to be a good writer. I don't need to lecture you on subject verb agreement. That's a waste of my time. I need you to already know those kind of things and be creative. So you can do that. You can go to Wix.com. You can go to WordPress. Get free websites. Start writing. Keep a blog, right? What are you passionate about? Do you love watching the USM baseball team, or do you love singing in your church choir and you're really good, your choir's like awesome? Keep a blog of that. Show me some of that video. Take pictures. Write entries about that. I want to see you're a good writer. So you can do that too. Maybe you're on the technical side, right? Maybe you like shooting video. Give me a portfolio. I hired a girl from the University of South Carolina, and what set her apart from the other candidates, she was very, very good communicator, very personable, but she was a little bit shy. She had a website, and it was awesome. She was a photographer by nature, but she liked to write too. She had all of that. It was great. Y'all probably met with her too. There's a writer here. She was like, I'd love to share some of my work. I was like, okay, do you have it? It was Ebony and I. She goes, here's my QR code.
I was just about to say that.
I was like, I love it. Give me your QR code. And it took me to the website of all of her writing. It's brilliant. She stood out today.
Go come job shadow at one of our shops, and you can put that in your internship application. I've job shadowed at 3 stations, and I discovered this is what I want to do, and I want to learn TMP.
Yep.
I was just about to say that I think when it comes to you all getting experience in a newsroom, the first thought is internship, but there are opportunities to go job shadow. And everybody who I gave my card to today, I said, email me or call me if you're ever in Jackson and you just want to come look around the station. Because sometimes it takes that look around the station, then you decide, oh, this is a station I want to do an internship for. Or I want to go see more stations. I want to see how they're different or how they're similar. And so internships are great. I fully advocate for internships, but also, like they've been saying, job shadowing I think is amazing, or just taking a day to go look at a station, look around, see the different departments, I think is very beneficial.
We do the same thing at WKRG. A lot of times we'll have an intern for just a single day. They'll get to see how the news operation works, go out with a reporter, and then either they might apply for a full internship or they just don't come back. But they at least have the experience and they're able to see, this is what I want to do.
Which is still successful, right? They determined right then and there this was not their career path. It's still successful. They just didn't waste a lot of time.
And I'm speaking on their behalf, but they are super sweet people. And I feel like if you had your portfolio and whoever you met with today, you could be like, hey, Jackie, I was one of the students at USM that met with you. Can I send you my portfolio? Can you just give me some recommendations? Would y'all be happy to do that?
Oh, sure. We do it all the time.
Okay.
Hey, I think it's important to know too that we're not just a news organization.
Right.
Because some people don't necessarily get into that. But we are a social media, we are a marketing firm, we are a technology company, and all of us so many of us that are group owners have other interests. The particular company that some of us work for is building a 19-stage movie studio in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're gonna be, marketing people with that. We own part of an esports gaming company, okay? And we're looking for people with a technology mind. You might make a contact at the TV station for a different career path, but yet deal with the same company with the same benefits and all the things that go with it. Or you may do 2 years of doing this and say, I want to diversify, I want to do something else. It's okay to change paths somewhere now. But you may have to pay dues a little bit in a certain area to get access to some of these. But those are the things that we're all involved with. We're not just a news organization.
Okay. What's your question?
Does anyone else want to say anything? Are there any specific soft skills that y'all are looking for when it comes to meeting people? Like especially on first-hand meetings?
I mean, you've got to be a good communicator, right? Not be afraid to communicate, right? Be honest, right? That goes a long way. But being able to hold a conversation, someone who will ask questions, you need to know what questions to ask when you're looking for a job, right? How are you going to find out if it's the right fit for you? You got to know. You got to ask questions. You got to be curious.
Yeah, you're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing you.
Right.
Yeah. But no, and it's okay to show maybe some of your fears and what you're worried about, right? Jackie loves Nebraska. I don't like snow. I'd ask a lot of questions before I would move to Nebraska, right? That's just me. I grew up in the South, so I like corn though. And but if I'm applying for a job in Nebraska, I would be asking that news director or general manager, tell me about the winters, right? Tell me about traffic and conditions and
Tires.
right? Like that stuff I don't know, and that's what would hold me back, and that's what I would be afraid of. So think about some of the things that may hold you back from a job. Like you're curious, you're interested, but I'm worried about this. Be honest about it.
Never hurts to have a really great handshake, not too hard, not too soft, that kind of fun stuff, right? Always look somebody in the eye. Always be dressed more than appropriately. You guys don't understand on your reels, that's more important than you probably realize. If you're really running into a close second or third with somebody and somebody's dressed more nicely than you, yeah, that's not gonna bode well in your behalf. We always talk about soft skills like time management, being able to get your stuff done on time. Show up for a job interview on time. Somebody said not too early though, and someone in the group said
Someone
not too
said
early.
not 30 minutes early.
Not 30 minutes
Yeah.
early, but 5 or 10 is just really great. So those kinds of skills, right? And folks, when you get in a newsroom, they're going to be people that you are just going to love, and you're going to feel a kinship with, and it's going to be wonderful from day one. And there are going to be some you're going, what planet are you from? And so you have to learn to communicate through that. I've never asked anybody to be best friends in my buildings. It's more or less you've got to be able just to get along. This situation's not working for me. Can we work through this?
Yeah.
Right? Those kinds of conversations. Those are more growing conversations. They're sometimes tougher conversations, but they're growing opportunities. You got to be able to have that kind of skill.
Yeah. And fulfill a commitment, right? Like if you've committed to something, see it through. That goes a long way, right? Be a good, just workplace citizen, right? Go in, do your job, come to work. It's crazy I have to say that, but hey, come to work.
Don't call out a whole bunch of times.
Yeah. Don't I just don't feel like adulting today. Well, none of us do, but we're all here. You know what I mean? Come to work. Be that person that has a good work ethic.
Show up with a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
If you're having a tough time at home or
Yeah.
I think people have thoughts on the mind. Show up with a positive attitude, ready to start the day. Obviously, the best thing about this business, you're young, it's different every day. It's exciting. It's not like a desk job where you're going to be doing something every single day different. You're going to be meeting new people, meeting exciting people. some of the best friends you'll ever have in your lifetime might be your first job that you have. Also, if you're taking a job, say from Southern Miss, reach out to the people at the station who went to Southern Miss and say, hey, what's it like to work there? Do you think I'd fit in well here? Is there good chemistry? Are people down here all the time? Do people hate working here? You know, just find out more about the station.
You can tell they have lots of stories. Okay, you've been so patient over here. I saw your hand this time.
I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
It's good.
We all do. We're all trying to.
You're the right field, there you go.
I'm in the right major.
That's right.
This is kind of a two-part question, but maybe can be answered in one. Is there anything that immediately will make you like mentally decline a candidate? And also, when in interviews they ask the question that's like, what's your biggest struggle, or like, what are you bad at? What is the right answer to that?
I would just be honest. As Emily will always just be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you struggle with time management, just be like, I struggle with time management, because that, even though some of those things can't be taught, if you go out and shadow, or they can teach you how to time manage while you're out in the field, doing reps, doing it multiple times. You're like, okay, doing it this way is not doing it for me. So obviously I need to find another way to do this, to get this done efficiently and quickly. So it's just, I always be honest with someone. If they be like, what is your weakest struggle? I always tell them, sometimes I think it's my attitude. There's some people, I should always be like, there's how we get past this. I could be civil, but sometimes those people, they know how to push those buttons, and I wear it on my face sometimes. So I just be honest and just tell them, but I know how to be civil. Hey, how you doing? Go to my desk. We ain't got to talk for the rest of the day. so I just be upfront and honest.
Well, we'll come up with a solution.
That's what
Folks,
I was gonna say.
people who just come to work and complain all the time, life's not always the easiest, and there are things that are wrong, but let's offer a solution. I really struggle with coming up with story ideas, but I'm working on it because I'm checking my social media contacts. I'm trying to watch more news, that kind of stuff. Offer the solution that comes with what my shortcoming may be, if that helps you.
Yeah.
Whatever your shortcoming may be.
A turn off for me too, if someone's coming from not necessarily another news station, but if they're trashing their former employer, that doesn't set well with me, right? Like that. My interview with you is not the time or place to tell me why you hated so and so. Like,
Chances are we
not
might
calling
know
back.
We probably
I
do.
can
We
tell
probably
you
already know
the
that.
Tim and Dennis were in my interview, and it's the truth. When they said, what is your greatest weakness? I was like, I have this real problem saying no. Like, I say yes to everything. And they're like, oh, check. And I was like, we love you. That's a great weakness.
Also, something. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Something else I think when just looking at resumes and whatnot is just like basic spelling and grammar, just immediately. Because this is something that you're putting forth for a job that you want to work for, and so when we immediately see a very obvious errors, it's kind of like, how much care did you put into this to send this out to someone that you want to work for? So I'm not gonna say it's always an immediate no. Like, oh, that person we're completely, but it's just something that sticks out as, okay, I'm a little eerie when we notice things right off the bat. Very common errors like that.
And on your portfolio too, we were talking about those things. It's okay to talk about some weaknesses then you've got a solution for it. But sometimes the things y'all have done in college can translate. I hired a producer, our 5 o'clock producer, because he was an Eagle Scout, a lifeguard for 4 years, and then he was also in this major, but that told me he had no problems with commitment. He was disciplined, and he had a strong work ethic.
You know how to communicate.
Wow, you know what I mean? Went a long way.
He's doing great.
Else to remember too, this is a real small industry.
Yes.
Tim's my former boss, Jackie's my former boss, Bill and I worked together for 17 years.
That's right.
Michelle and I worked together, Brad and I competed on the streets of Biloxi. Joey's a competitor on the competing station, so back to Ellie's point, don't trash other journalists.
Yep.
Because we all know each other.
We do.
Okay, we have a question right here.
So I'm not technically in the media field specifically, I'm a marketing major, social media minor, so I'm kind of wondering how many opportunities there are each of the different jobs in terms of social media and marketing, things like that.
a lot.
Girl, come on now.
Like,
Take your
real.
pick.
No, it translates. It just does. You know, every TV station is going to have a creative services marketing department, right? Where they are marketing two things. A, they're creating, yeah, they're promoting our station, so creating station commercials. But then they're also working with advertising clients to create something for their brand that maybe it's going to go on social media, digital, or on a traditional broadcast, right? So that translate even digital content producers, that those jobs, you know, you're using visual mediums of video and photos and words to create something that will draw a consumer to engage in that content, right? So you have to know those buzzwords. You have to know that SEO. You have to know what headlines can be punchier that's going to make that thumb stop when you're scrolling, right? So it definitely translates.
There's a lot. Digital sales managers, digital content managers, all kinds of things. The bigger markets you're in, the more opportunities you have, but they're all stations have opportunities, right? But that's where the money is, by the way.
Okay, I think that we are about at the end of our time. Let's give our professionals a round of applause. I mean, you can only imagine how busy they are and what their schedule looks like every day, so I truly appreciate them taking time out of their busy schedule to come. And one last quick thing that I want y'all all to tell Ed that you want to come to our student conference on Tuesday, November 14th. It's going to be at the JSU East Center, and we have DeMarco Morgan, who is a co-anchor with ABC Good Morning America, that's going to be there this year. So y'all all want to come to the student conference, right?
Right.
Yes, shake your
So
head, yes.
there's going to be a couple of buses here, okay?
Only money.
You be a good general manager.
Well, thank y'all so much. We enjoyed spending time.
Good luck, everybody.
We'll be around if y'all need anything.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Right?
Mercy is cold.